Namaste friends and welcome. My name is Anna.Jisalo. I'm a musician by day and Yarnoholic by night. So here in this channel I share journey in two of these worlds of mine. It's January 2025 and it's snowy and frosty and chilly outside now here in Latvia where I live. So I thought this is the perfect time to make the video what I made last year. Everything I made last year out of yarn. So brew yourself a cup of your favorite tea and let's go. I am so excited to make this video because these kind of videos has inspired me so much during the last year, especially in this field of yarn art and creating things. So if I'm gonna inspire at least one person to make something out of yarn, it's gonna be a success. So let's go. Oh my god, I didn't expect that pile to be so big. My calculation says that there are approximately 33 objects, and I was grouping the smallest projects like in group and counting that as one. It looks like I'm gonna split this video in 2 or 3 parts, so it's not like a full-length movie. That's why if you're new to this channel and you don't want to miss the next episodes, please hit that subscribe button and check that little bell to get notified when the new episode comes out. So I welcome the new year without any unfinished objects because I like to finish things. Sometimes I force myself to finish things before I start any new projects because I don't like this feeling when some folders are open and there are many at the same time. So yeah, that's my style, how I do things. Usually I have one ongoing project or two, one of who is like easy knitting or easy crocheting project that I can do while talking to friends or maybe watching some other YouTube videos, and the other one is more complicated, maybe with some new techniques involved, so I don't get bored. So for this video I tried to arrange my projects chronologically, and also when it all started last year. Yes, I restarted to knit and crochet only last year. I started also this project diary, but there are only about 1/3 or 1/4 of all my projects because after this first part it went kind of like it always goes for me, spontaneously and chaotically. So here you can see that I have one opening for each project where you can see the label of yarn and the example of yarn and the name of pattern and size I've made, and also some notes how it went for me and yeah, maybe what to do better next time. Also how I choose my projects. Usually I imagine what I want to make and then I go, for example, to Pinterest and make some research if there's anyone else in the world that has fantasized and done something I want to do, and afterwards I navigate to YouTube or somewhere else and to research the technical ways of how to execute the project. So I have playlists, like never-ending playlists on YouTube with projects that I want to make in future. So for me the inspiration never stops. Also, this is just a hobby for me. This is an activity that I do on evenings, usually like half an hour or hour before bedtime. So that's why I'm surprised that this pile is so big. It looks like that somebody has worked like all year non-stop. So in this project parade I will try to remember every pattern that I used, if there is one, because the big part of these garments are just improvisation of mine. Usually I don't follow patterns like 100%, because as I said, I'm improviser and I like to adjust and modify things to fit perfectly, or yeah, to fit my style perfectly. Also, please note that if I mention any sizes or measurements, it's gonna be in European standard because I live in Latvia. So it all started in the beginning of last year. I saw on Instagram in stories that one of my favorite creatrix has made a shrug, and she linked the pattern that she followed. So yeah, that's how it all started. I will also link this exact YouTube tutorial. It's free, that I followed, and of course there were some adjustments that I made. And also that was time when I was thinking about releasing my music, and when I was preparing my first single to be released, and also I was thinking about what to wear in the music video, and how to make my visual presence. And I knew that I really want to be involved in making my stuff about the yarn I use. That was just my stash that I had at home, some unidentified yarn. And so it turned out that I totally made this outfit that you can see in this video. I will link it here. That's the video of my first single, the acoustic version of the first single that came out last year, in the spring in last year. So in the tutorial, this shrug is simply in one color, in one yarn, but as you can see, I made it a mix of different colors and attached kind of crazy fringe, because it's related to this song that I released. It's about Mother Earth, and I'm very inspired by the Native American culture and also their appearance. So this fringe is like a reference to that. Also, I attached some glass beads. They look just like water drops, or the morning dew shimmering in sun. Also in this set I made, I don't know how to call it, it's like centerpiece that I put over my pants, and it's also crocheted in. Obviously it doesn't have any pattern that I followed, it's just a vision of mine. And I used the same yarn as in this shrug, and I used some different crocheting stitches. Also, you can hear the sound of it because I attached these little bells, these little chimes at the bottom of it. And on the other part there are these charms of the symbol, the world of tree, no, the tree of the world that you can find in many cultures of the world. So for me it symbolizes the unity of all the tribes of the world. About the speed of the process, well, I was on fire. I was so excited when I started to make this. I did it very fast, but there's a also very funny moment. At the moment when I finished this shrug, I was like, oh, so relieved and happy, and I just threw it on the table, and like 3 seconds later I noticed that there's smoke coming, and actually I had thrown it on the candle on table. So yeah, that was moment of my chaotic action. So I had to redo like the half of this of one sleeve, because there was a big hole in one sleeve in the middle of it. But yes, this is a fast project. I recommend doing it, and I really want to make this in different colorways, like the simple version without the fringe, definitely in black and in beige. That's somewhere in my list. So the third piece is June Top by Petite Knit. There's a pattern to follow. I've linked it down and in the description box. I did it in organic cotton yarn in size S. It was quite time-consuming process for me, because it was like the first knitting project that I've had like in I don't know, 20 years maybe. Then I have to maybe tell something about my knitting journey, but I think that's going to be content for another video. So yeah, my knitting journey started actually in childhood, because it's normal in Latvia that we have like knitting projects in primary school. So I have made some samples there and maybe some mittens or socks in the childhood. But then I had like a big pause of knitting or crocheting. So because it's knitted with quite small needles, it took some time, but I really love it, and I wore it a lot during the last summer. And the cotton yarn is very pleasant to skin and very pleasant to wear in hot weather. So I definitely recommend this pattern, and I also want to make it in different colors, maybe in dark gray or black. So this was the moment when I fell in love with Petite Knit patterns as a big part of the knitters of the world. So my next project was also from her, and it was CUMULUS blouse, O neck, because there is also a version with the V neck. There is a pattern that I followed, and I made it in size S. Almost always I improvise with the yarn choice. Usually I would take a look at my yarn stash and check if there's something I can use. With this one I bought the yarn, and I used 2 strands together. It was kid mohair and also some kind of silky mohairy blend. And I think this was the project that took the longest time for me. It was like the first raglan sweater that I made. Raglan is, if you don't know, is this part when you start knitting the sweater from the neck and go down, and at the same time you make the sleeves. And I really enjoyed it. It was something new, some new technique, and also the needles were quite small for me. And yes, so it took some time, but I love this sweater very much. It's very warm, and also I want to make it more versions in different color shades, because white is very light, and yes, I want something darker as well. And about the needle size, I used 3.5 and 4 millimeter circular needles. Also, there's one new technique that I learned, and that was the I-cord edge. And that's a beautiful edge that you can see here on the neckline and on the edges of sleeves and the bottom edge of the sweater. So next one is one crazy project, and because usually when someone hears that I've crocheted pants, they're like raising their brows. Lounge pants by Mermaid Cat Designs. There's also a pattern I enjoyed crocheting these pants because it's quite unusual to crochet pants, and I learned many new crocheting stitches here, and they are very decorative, and yes, it was fun to make them. The pattern is very well made, easy to follow, and very adjustable. It gives you the steps how to make exactly your size to fit perfectly. I crocheted them with a hook of size 9 millimeters. It suggests chunky yarn because I think they look better also, and the stitches are more defined if you use more bulky yarn. I used Aran wool blend yarn, and as you can see and start to notice which one is my favorite color. I like to wear them over my leggings, and that way it's very warm and comfy, exactly in this time in winter. By that time it was the largest yarn project that I have made, and it took a while, but as I said, yeah, it was very exciting because of the many stitches that I tried out, and I've worn them quite a lot. So next one is the legendary Sophie scarf by Petite Knit, another pattern by her that's linked down below. I used some unidentified 100% natural wool yarn, plus I held it together with some very soft kid mohair, and I really love this scarf. That's what I needed because it's very comfy and small if you have like some tight clothes around you already, and there is no much space for a bigger scarf. This one's perfect. Also, I made another one and gave away as a present, so I cannot show that, but I definitely recommend knitting it. There are some knitters that says it's an easy project, but I wouldn't say so, because you have to follow the pattern all the time and count and count and count, and maybe this is the one pattern that I really followed 100%. Yes, because I wanted to be it like the pattern suggests it. Also, there are patterns available for bigger versions. In this exact pattern, there was size S and L, so this is the L of the smallest scarf. And in her site there is also a pattern for the bigger Sophie scarf, also I think in 2 different sizes. So the next one is the open knit sweater by Carolee. This was the second sweater that I made in my life besides the SHRUG, and it was knitted totally different from the Petite Knit sweater. It was made from bottom up, without the raglan, like different kind of sleeves and a different kind of neckline. But that's where I fell in love with knitting with chunky needles. About the yarn I used, it was some kind of mohair blend. So it's airy and light and very summery sweater. Also about knitting with these chunky needles, these projects just fly off your needles because the process is very fast and you can see the result very fast. So that's why I love it. Next one is a very funky project, very interesting project. Maybe you've noticed that I like unusual things and interesting looking things. So I found this one on Etsy. It's a project by the crochet FAERY, and it's called Flapper Fairy Top. This pattern was interesting with the variations and modifications that you can make there. You can choose to make it either as a top that I did, or make it as a dress, and also adjust and modify exactly for your size. With this pattern I learned some interesting construction ways, how to construct a garment with crocheting. This yarn is some unidentified yarn from my mom's stash. It's some woolly mohair, again very fluffy and cloud-like. And I haven't worn it very much last year because you know, there wasn't very much fairy parties last year to attend, only a few. So I think I'm gonna put a little comma here. I think these 10 projects will be enough for a start. If you want to see more, please stay tuned for the second part of this video. So I hope that you got maybe some sparkle of inspiration. Maybe if you have any questions, you can write them down in the comment section. And maybe you can write also if you had any favorite of these 10 projects. If you like this video, please don't forget to click the like button. And thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye!